And the procurement director of Skanska just said, well, I'm sorry to repeat myself, but that's your problem, that's not mine. What happened in this case was the following. Both negotiators agreed to have a break, which was a clever thing to do. And the supplier went home and they had a crisis meeting in the headquarters in Germany. And they were discussing the survival of this company in the future. Because, you know, they could not reduce cost of production to the same low level as Eastern Europe. That would be just impossible. And they would potentially lose out on the whole market, because what do you think would happen if they actually accepted that an East European company would get into their market? They would set up logistics and warehousing and sales and then start to ship to all the other major contractors in the world. And suddenly this company would be out of business only a year from now. So they had a serious crisis meeting. But about a week later, they sent in a new negotiator to Skanska. And they said, do you know what? We would love to have a look into your total cost of ownership. We would love actually to understand what is the total cost for a plasterboard when it has been mounted on the wall. What is the real cost of for you? And Skanska said, well, we haven't never looked into that, but that will be fun. Okay, let's do that. We will set up and give you the necessary information. You do the calculation and that will be fine. So they started to do this process and they managed to convince Skanska that they should do it. And about 10 days later, they turned out with the following result. They actually understood that a plasterboard or drywall would have a total cost of 180 Danish kroner when it was mounted on the building site. The customer Skanska knew that the price was approximately 30 to 33, depending on the thickness of the plasterboard, and he didn't really know where the remaining 150 Danish kroner were coming from. So the key point for the two parties were now, of course, to identify how can we utilize the 150. So they started a mutual project identifying this potential Negoeconomics value. And what they knew, first of all, was there was a huge amount of all the plasterboard being delivered that was ruined and destroyed. They never actually made it and was installed in the building site. Have you ever been visiting a building site, guys? Have you ever tried that? You see a huge pile of plasterboards out there, and then you might have one of the workers coming with a barrel full of cement, and it's pretty heavy to control. So he just hits the corner of this huge pile of plasterboards and destroy about 40 of those. And he might be standing out thinking, oh, what the heck, the price is only approximately 30 Danish kroner per unit, that's not important, then he moves on, okay? Then you have another worker standing there, you know, trying to make the right size of the plasterboard to make it fit, and he cuts it wrong, and ooh, then he throws it out. And then there's something else, which is really weird. You know, people, researchers in chemistry around the world are trying to figure this one out. Did you know there's a strange reaction between darkness and gypsum? You know that? You know, when gypsum actually is exposed to darkness, it vanishes.